Let's speak about Lordstown Motors, baby. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and yesterday Ride Stock, aka Lordstown Motors, went up 34% intraday, closed the day down 22%, and is up 8.5% pre-market, baby. What is happening? I'm not used to seeing green in my portfolio. It was a beautiful day for EV investors all around the block yesterday. My portfolio was up, I believe, 9% or so. It was much needed after the bloodbath that has been around the last couple of weeks. And I think a lot of us are feeling very good right now. So of course I want to speak about this because you guys know I love Lordstown Motors. They're one of my biggest investments. And obviously everybody's asking me, why has the price gone up so much? And to be honest with you guys, I don't think there is a very clear cut answer. I don't have any massive piece of news that nobody else has. It was a green day in the market in general. The S&P was up nearly 1.8%. Nasdaq similar. The Dow Jones even up 2%. Pre-market trading today, the S&P's up a little bit again, 0.4. The Nasdaq is beginning to boom off again, up 2.1%. That will be very nice 2 days for the Nasdaq. And the Dow's trading a little bit in the red. But in general, we're starting to see market sentiment shift. I've been speaking about this for so long on the channel. We've been waiting for this for weeks now. And I believe it's starting to happen. And if you watched yesterday's video, it was about Workhorse. But I did say that I believe that over the next couple of days, market sentiment is going to shift. And we are going to start seeing some green again. And it's looking like that may become true. So although I do not have any crazy new news, what we're going to do in today's video is obviously recap a couple of the main points we speak about. I also have a couple of charts made up for you guys. I want to speak about a few interesting price points. I want to speak about what I believe could happen over the next couple of days. And ultimately what it's going to take to get us back to those all-time highs in the 30s. Also, I downloaded the Webull desktop app just for this, just to get level 2 data so I can show you some bids and asks to see what the general market is thinking of Lordstown Motors right now. I've actually been watching this for an hour and a couple of interesting things have happened. But that's where we stand, guys. We're up 8.5% pre-market. Workhorse is up nearly 10% pre-market. This is what we've been waiting for, baby. So right before we get into the video, could I please ask my friend to hit that juicy like button for a juicy Lordstown Motors video? If you're new around here, please consider hitting that lovely looking red subscribe button and joining the family of investors. We're getting really close to 50,000. And please drop me a comment down below. Where do you stand on this company? You know, are you like me? Have you been buying from day one? Have you bought more? I bought more at $14.40 a share. Feels good right now. Just let me know. So anyway, let's get straight into it, baby. So right here, we're just having a look at a 5-day chart. So we're going to start it off on a really small time frame, then we're going to get bigger and bigger as we go on, okay? So only a matter of about 5 days ago, we were above $20 a share. You'll all remember what happened. Boom, we took this first considerable dip. We fell into the low 18s at one stage. And then we briefly went right back up, breaking through the 20 again before the real sell-off happened. And then you may well remember this day right here, the 28th, and we gapped down. It was a terrible market open. We went from about $16.50 to $17 all the way down to the low 13s. And that's what this represents here. It's a gap down. Nothing happened there. And then, you know, we traded somewhat sideways. We went up a little bit, but the worst of it wasn't over. We went down more and we were around that low $13 for a while. So I believe right around here is where I did decide to buy. When I saw $14.40 a share, I couldn't resist that temptation. I really could not. We did go down a little bit lower, but now here we are. We went on the way back up. And so if I zoom in a little bit more, you're going to see this nice run up to the upside. There was a lot of upward momentum in general. Now, we did see a little bit of a sell-off towards yesterday, but that was off the back of a 34% upwards move, guys. That is a lot of upwards movement, and we still closed the day up 22%. So yes, there is a lot of red at the end of the day, but I mean, look at where we started that same day off. We were down at $13.06 a share before shooting all the way up to over $17.50. And again, if I show you that pre-market so far, we're up another 8.5%. So things are looking very good today. So why is this? Okay, well, first of all, I'll refresh this screen again for you guys. The markets were green yesterday, and the markets are looking to be green again today in general. EV will move closer with the Nasdaq than the S&P or the Dow. That's what we've seen over the last few months. It's pretty much an exaggerated version of the Nasdaq. When it's green, it's really green. When it's red, it's really red. Particularly for Workhorse and Lordstown Motors, not so much some of the others. Also, the US elections as well. I'm not going to get into this in today's video, okay, because it's still uncertain exactly what's going to happen. Donald Trump has been coming out and saying some crazy things. There's been a whole lot of drama. There's been lots of switching and changing. It's been weird, but I also do think, funnily enough, this is making people bullish again. A lot of what Donald Trump has to say, at least. Now, I definitely don't think we've seen the end of the volatility, but that may not necessarily be a bad thing. It may finally turn into some overbuys as opposed to oversells, which is why we should have been buying at the bottoms, which a lot of you guys did, myself included. Next thing I want to show you is this, okay? So this is the entirety of Lordstown Motors stock chart. So you'll remember here, 3rd of August was the first day we went public. The first day I bought the company at $11.80 a share. And if you guys have been in since day one, you will remember that the road to $30, there was no red days. I mean, none. There was the occasional 0.5% or 1.5%. This day here, these 2 days here, we dropped 7.36%. That was our first real dip. And then we went on an insane run. A lot of you guys will of course remember, but since then it's been insanely bad, back to the downside. So a couple of interesting things happened over the last 2 days in particular, in my opinion. If we go back to when Diamond Peak Holdings announced that they were going to do the merger with Lordstown Motors, okay, 3rd of August. We traded a little bit sideways. There was an initial pop. We reached, 13, 14 even at the highs. But we largely traded between 12s and, 14s, let's say. I mean, we were there for a good 3 weeks or so. So there was a lot of money in those ranges. A lot of people buying, a lot of people selling, but not quite enough to push that price up really high. Then you guys will see here, remember I spoke about the gap slightly earlier. We gapped up, and since then it went on a crazy run to the upside. Now, I don't know, a lot of you guys look at stock charts very often. I know I'm not necessarily the technical analysis guy. If you look over on the side of my screen, you will probably be able to tell I used to trade Forex, so I know my way around the chart decently. Oh, XAU USD, that brings back memories, man. I used to love trading this pair. It was so volatile. But a general rule is that when a gap is made, it has to be filled. Now, this is not always the case. We are looking at a 4-hour chart right now. If we go down all the way to maybe a 15-minute or a 5-minute, there may not be as much of a gap. But generally speaking, when a gap is made, right here you see there is no price action. It's going to be filled at some stage or another. So a lot of people were worried about this from the very beginning. Now, I don't let gaps completely dictate my buying and selling, because sometimes they don't get filled. Sometimes they just exist forever. And at the end of the day, I'm a long-term investor. I'm investing in a company for years and years and years, my friends. But this is genuinely part of the reason why I bought at 14.40. I saw that gap was completely filled. I felt fairly confident it was going to go up again. So anyway, back to price action. We went up. There was some downs, some ups, some downs. And then pretty much since here, the 12th of October, it's all been down. And again, we saw a gap to actually fill in our previous gap. And then we went back up and closed it. So, some price points to look at right now. You'll see I have a line right here, which pretty much goes through this entire stage of consolidation. Maybe you could bring it down a little bit lower to the very bottoms, or you could bring it up a little bit higher to, these double tops. But somewhere around here, somewhere around 1340 to 1380 or so is a very interesting price point in the short term for me. But then the other one is going to be closer to here, pretty much where we closed. You see, this is a few bottoms were formed here on the 4-hour chart. So around the 1550 mark, all the way up to these tops of 1950. I think if we can break through 1950, we could very much so keep going up considerably higher. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Well, if we go to Webull and we get some level 2 data up right here. If we look at the bids and we look at the asks, there isn't actually any very massive bid or ask in, except for a 17,500 order at 13.15 a share. But in regards to the ask, the people who want to sell this company, there's no absolutely massive orders in there. And you will actually see there are very few orders in general below that mark that I'm saying above 1950. So I am very much so beginning to believe that we could see the 20s again very, very shortly. Now, do we stay there, or do we get pushed back down? Who knows? But that's where I think we could go in the short term. And look what just happened. An order obviously got filled while I was speaking there. We're up to 15% in the green pre-market, baby. So I'm recording this 3 hours before the market goes open. We're less than 10% away from that point I think we need to get to continue going up. That could happen today, which is absolutely insane to say, but at this rate it could happen. So essentially, guys, I want to see us clear somewhere around here, okay? These previous highs, somewhere around the 1972 mark, which again, we're very, very close to doing so. And then where do I think it's going to be tough to get to next time? Well, up here is a very obvious one, okay? There's some big sells, big buys here. A lot of big money would have gotten in here, in my opinion. So we need to start looking between, kind of maybe $24 a share all the way up to $26, $27 a share. So we'll say somewhere right around here at 24. And then also you notice there's a lot of little spikes up around this price point, somewhere between 27 and 28. So I think this is kind of where we have to start looking towards next. So I do believe that if we break through this somewhat 1950 barrier, essentially, we can easily make a move up towards 22, 23. But then the next question becomes, can we move through here? And then ultimately, can we move through here to attempt all-time highs yet again? Now, the thing is, if we don't break through here, more than likely we're going back down. What can make that happen? Everything that we've seen happening over the last couple of weeks. The elections for 100%. I know market sentiment looks good as of this moment in time, and trust me, I'm so happy about that. but we have seen just how quickly that can change over the last couple of weeks. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen with these presidential elections yet. We just have to wait and see. Also, news helps, guys. News moves stocks, okay? Not necessarily because it gets me or you or the average retail investor to buy or sell the company, but because it gives people with millions, if not tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, a reason to buy or sell or essentially manipulate the stock. You would definitely know I used to trade Forex. But that is the truth of it, okay? It's not me or you moving these companies. It's the banks, it's Goldman Sachs, it's the investment firms, it's the guys with the big money, and ultimately they want big news to be able to make big moves, okay? Think of it that way. Now, of course, you can just see a big move because of something like this. In my opinion, this sell-off was in no way justified. That's why I was willing to buy more down at the bottoms. And so this can be manipulation enough for the big guys to get back in. They could have opened positions, sell positions up here. Now they may have sold out and they'll buy back in. They have a lot more money than us, my friends. Remember that. So what kind of news am I looking out for, let's say by the end of the year? Well, obviously, earnings. I want to know what we're doing. I don't expect any good earnings reports until towards the end of next year, but I'm still interested. And you know, earnings reports obviously come out with some very interesting updates and news for investors, more so than just the earnings themselves. There's more to it than just that. I'm hoping by the end of the year we could get a pre-order update. Now, I know we already got one not too long ago. Who knows? This is not something they are obliged to do, but I'm really hoping they do it. Last time they announced, you know, they went from 27,000 to 40,000 pre-orders. That got people very excited, myself included, and we saw that lead to some bullish momentum. So I'm hoping by the end of the year they will give us another update, because I have said on the channel I believe we could be approaching 60,000 pre-orders by the end of the year. Now I know that doesn't necessarily translate to value. A lot of them may fall through, but the fact that we are selling directly to fleets in general does make me believe a considerable amount of them will actually go through, as opposed to a retail investor who doesn't have to put a deposit down on a vehicle, who could cancel it at any time. That's not what we're looking at as much here. The average order volume is 300 from fleet, so keep that in mind. That's one thing, probably the biggest thing I want to see by the end of the year, in all honesty. If we don't get it, I'll try reach out to the team, I'll try and get that information, I'll try get them to make it public. We will see what happens though. You know, they're not under any obligation at the end of the day. I think these guys have actually done a great job of, you know, keeping us investors up to date. They're active on Twitter. They're constantly giving us updates. Even if it's not the most important things in the world, they're keeping us excited, and I think they've done a fantastic job as of late. But guys, that's my quick update on these. That's where I think the price action is going. That's some important levels I think that we should be looking out for. Let's keep in mind this company hasn't been publicly traded for the longest period of time, so we don't have an awful lot of support and resistance levels to have a look at, but we can have a look at some interesting ranges. That's where I'll be keeping my eyes peeled. I don't necessarily have price targets, but I will be keeping a close eye on it. If you did watch this video until the end and you enjoyed me actually going through, you know, price action, the charts a little bit more, because I know I don't usually do this, I'm happy to do it. Let me know if you want more of this, because I can definitely implement it into more videos. But anyway, my friends, thank you so much for watching today's video. Please hit that juicy like button and subscribe if you enjoyed, and also drop me that comment. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. I will see you for another video very soon. Peace.